Right, I think we're live. Hi, folks, or in this case, hi, Simon, because it looks like Simon's the only person here so far. It's nice to see you, Simon. Hi, Jack. Welcome. Thanks very much for joining me. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm very good. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And hi, Simon, as well.
No, not at all. Thank you so much for getting up out of your bed early to come and spend some time with us. Conscious of how early, 5 a.m. for you, is that right?
We're starting here at 5 a.m., but I've been up since 3. I had to prepare breakfast for family and everyone.
Oh, jeez. Are your family up and about just now? Are you all like early birds, or?
They'll be getting up very soon, yeah. And so because I'll be here, my wife will be juggling a few things, so I already laid the table and stuff.
Oh, well, your wife is a lucky lady. I can tell you something. I would never be up at 3 o'clock to make breakfast for my husband. So I hope she knows how lucky she is.
It's a balance. It's a balance. It's always a balance, right?
Ferdiad's here. Hi, Ferdiad. How you doing? Right. So we're here to talk about Arcane Wildlife Tarot, yeah. So Jack, why don't we start off by you, just for anyone that doesn't know you, and there might be people in my community that haven't heard of you, why don't you start off by introducing yourself and telling me a wee bit about what it is that you do generally and what's brought you over to our kind of a particular area, like corner of TarotTube or YouTube.
Yeah, sure. It'll be a pleasure. So I grew up in North London. My house was a gallery when I grew up, so I've always been around art. And after university, I moved to Japan. I've been in Japan for about 20 years, and I'm married here. I have 2 kids here, so settled. And I've always been creating art, but for the last decade, I've been kind of building this creative world of literature, art in various mediums, mostly inspired by British culture, traditional British culture, and traditional Japanese culture. So kind of merging the two, particularly looking further back. So looking at Edo Japan, inspired by woodblock prints, and more nature, Japanese, like kind of cultural and religious beliefs in the past, as well as the same with England. So not really exploring like the modern cultures of anime and all that sort of stuff. And so I created my first playing card project about 6 years ago. And since then, it was well received. And since then, I've kind of grown in that community. And now I've produced about 12 different crowdfunded card projects of various kinds. I think everyone was a project we love, and was well received. Last year I won a playing card P50 52 plus Joker Diamond Award Artist of the Year, and I've always explored different kind of mediums, and for me, every different medium is just a different window, a different canvas, a different platform to explore how to tell a visual story in this world that I'm creating. And so kind of trying my hand at a tarot deck, it was just a really exciting idea to me. Obviously, I have more canvas to explore than a playing card deck. And also there's a lot of kind of archetype and structure to it that's kind of a fun challenge to tackle. And so, yeah, I'm new to the tarot world, but for the last year, I've been trying to learn as much as I can. I've really been going deep, and I hope that shows in the work.
It does. I think it definitely shows in the work, but it also shows listening to you talk about it. You were live with Simon a couple of weeks back, and I think I've already said to you, like, I was really impressed at like your knowledge. I So for everyone watching, I was messaging Jack being like, oh, and like I was giving him an idea of what I was going to be asking about, and I was like, yeah, and I'm going to be asking about like what your tarot reading practice is like, and he was like, I've made that clear. I don't read tarot, but that I was so impressed by your knowledge and the amount of research that you've done that I thought that you did. But yeah, it's interesting to hear about going from playing cards and then coming over to tarot, because it's brave. It's like 7 to 8 pieces of art, isn't it? It's like a big undertaking, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I was very conscious not just of the undertaking of how much art to produce, but very conscious of the different kind of audiences, and not wanting to misrepresent myself. So like, yeah, I'm not a reader, but I've just spent the last 10 months to a year just trying to learn, trying to understand what this means, how this connects to people. When I started playing cards, it was a learning curve as well, because say for example, how traditional do you go and how standard do you go? So one of the kings traditionally holds a weapon up to the head. And if you go back 100 years, go back in history, that was always a weapon. There was a weapon there that was clear. It was originally an axe, I believe. But over years of misprints, it actually kind of, the head of the axe disappeared, and kind of reprinting and misprinting and interpretations of the last misprint, it became a sword that goes through the head. And so now that king is known as the Suicide King. And when I first created my first deck, I didn't have a Suicide King in like my king wasn't holding a weapon through the head. And lots of people don't mind, because this is you're using this as a creative canvas, and you're still having like readable cards that people can recognize. But some people are very particular, like this has to have this feature, right?
Yeah.
And so I was very nervous going into tarot, like what are the features that I have to have to connect with people, to not, to do tarot properly. But the more and more I speak to people, the more and more I talk to people in the community, the more people say, as long as you're connecting with it, as long as you're telling your story, there are no rules. I'm still trying to balance that kind of feeling, though.
Definitely. I definitely would agree. There's no one way to tarot, or a way to put it. We've got our 3 major systems now that people tend to talk about, which is the RWS, the Marseille, and the Thoth. But even outside of that, there's a whole host of different decks, different things that people do to kind of depict each of the archetypes. So I definitely don't think that there's no kind of well, this card needs to have that, otherwise it's just not that card. I don't think there's any of that. So you'll be absolutely fine. It'll be brilliant. I've been obsessed looking at like images of the majors and stuff, that I was excited to see. So I'd seen like wee snippets of the minors, but then I was excited to see a walkthrough of the playing card decks that kind of I go with, that are part of the Kickstarter as well. And I don't know, I'm feeling like that's maybe a wee bit of a preview as to what to expect with the minors of the tarot deck. So I'm really excited to see it. Anyway.
Oh, I mean, if you would like to do a screen share of the campaign or anything, I would be happy to talk you through any of those elements.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll do it this way. This is probably the best way for me to do it.
I think while you're doing that, Simon asked if I was bitten by the tarot bug. And kind of, yeah. It is, as Chris says, it is a bigger undertaking than the other projects that I usually engage with. And so I will always, I think it will always be a decision that requires a lot of research and thought before I even dive into attempting another tarot. But I think I definitely would like to try, and I have a lot of ideas, flowing around. The more that I learn, the more people that I meet, the more that I hear that are inspiring.
Brilliant. So everyone should be able to see the Kickstarter campaign just now. I'm just kind of slowly scrolling through that to let people see, so we can see what I was just talking about, the tarot deck, and then two playing card decks. There's some of the images of the majors there. That's the two jokers in the backs of the playing cards, isn't it?
Yeah. And so those are, so everything is very personal as well. And so I understand, I try to make it, relatable for everyone, but an artist, if I can call myself that, pours a lot of themselves into what they create. And so the jokers on the left is my youngest son, Robin. So that's obviously quite tongue-in-cheek obvious that it's a Robin. And on the right, so Robin is named after Robin Hood, a British legendary hero. And on the right, my son Arthur, named after King Arthur of the Arthurian legends. And so there is no animal, but the Tyrannosaurus Rex is like the king, right? Rex as in king.
Yeah.
And so the Tyrannosaurus represents King Arthur.
Right, okay. That's cool. I did wonder, I thought maybe the T-Rex was Arthur's favourite dinosaur or something like that.
It is also. It is also, but I kind of put that into his head.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's really nice. Just kind of scrolling through some of the art here.
So as you can see there, so like the court cards. So this is the playing card court card, so Jack of Hearts here, but this is also the same art is adapted and expanded into the tarot. The minor, so in this case it will be the knight. And the concept here was the mirror playing card, but inspired by tarot. So there's a light and a shadow side. So this is kind of designed for the reverse draw as well, and nothing is good or bad or right or wrong. It's more what you're connecting with in terms of like the dichotomy of whether light represents understanding or whether shadow represents kind of an introverted nature or something, but this dichotomy, this balance.
I was listening to something. I was listening to something the other day. I think it's an audiobook I'm listening to just now about Lenormand cards, and she was talking about how we kind of have a tendency to talk about the light as though it's the good thing, and the shade, the shadow as though it's the bad thing. But tell that to the person who's frying in the sun and getting overexposed to sun rays, and then all of a sudden they move into the shade to give themselves a bit of reprieve. Do you know what I mean? So that was quite an interesting point that she'd made.
I mean, so it's the same, like obviously in Eastern culture. So obviously in Japan, and there's and through China and East Asia, there's the yin yang, the koi fish swimming, right? And typically one is black and one is white in depiction, right? But the whole point is they're swimming in a circle, and neither is right, neither is wrong. They're feeding into each other, and too much of anything is unhealthy.
Yeah, true. So, see, in terms of the court cards and the tarot deck, Jack, have you got like a page, a knight, a queen, and a king, or how does that look?
So so the playing cards have the typical 52 plus 2 joker and bonus adds that I've put in there. So they have Jack, Queen, King.
Yep.
And then the tarot have. So each set will be in this uncut sheet image. And there's a lot of depth that's laid upon each other with each project, because they're windows into the same world that I create. I think with each project, you only see, the iceberg, the focus the focus of the narrative that I want to tell with this project. But because they're all building on top of each other, there's kind of a very deep story behind all of it that's slowly getting bigger and bigger. So each of the different 4 suits is modeled after a different animal, which has different meaning, representation, which is inspired by a different world, culture for the purpose. And all of these, so there's the Jack, Queen, King in the cards, and then for the tarot I did add a page for each one, so there's the full the minor arcana quartz in the but that's only in the tarot.
Okay, brilliant. The cards look so luxurious in the tarot community, but I'm sure it's the same with playing card community, but we love a nice juicy card stock. We love a nice luxurious card, so we do. So I bet that there's lots of people either watching this or just watching the campaign in general, and who can't wait to get their little mitts on these cards, because I know that I'm definitely like that. I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, oh, look at that gold foil, that looks delicious. Like, I just want to shuffle it.
So having created dozens of playing cards, and for me them being art canvases, the texture, the feel, the handling, and I'm much more drawn to organic forms. So like a soft touch, I prefer matte over gloss, and some like this foil is a very unique kind of foil that we have to specially source, that has this kind of this painted organic feel to it. So I think I call it a painted foil or a brushed foil. I think they should handle very well. I had one person ask me about the sizing of the tarot, and sorry, I can't say off the top of my head, but they are perfectly standard tarot sizing and made for handling. I think that person dropped their pledge because they said they're too big. But I think they looked at the wrong information, and they looked at the sizing I was saying of the box. So I just wanted to clarify that in case anyone else saw that.
Sorry.
So the production of feel, of the sense of using them is very important to me as well. Yeah.
Good. Is the tarot cards, are they the same card stock as the playing cards? Do you know?
They should be slightly thicker stock because as you know, the surface area of a playing card is smaller, and so it doesn't have as much bend to it, but with a larger surface area. So yeah, we're considering all of that and how to make the perfect feel. I'm working very closely with one of the best known printers of playing cards and tarot. So.
Got you. Do you have like so I know you don't read cards, Jack, but through creating the tarot, you must have gotten quite intimately close to it. Do you have like a favorite card? Apologies if this is a question you've already been asked, by the way, but do you have like a favorite card or something that you identify the most with?
Yeah, so I mean, I can't say a favorite card as in a favorite tarot archetype, but I can say what cards in this project, having been like deep in creating this project for a year, I can say which of these I connect most with. And for me, of these, there are 4 cards that really I associate with. You've got one of them on the screen now, the Hermit, and that probably is me. So I mean, not in a bad way, but I tend to prefer to be alone, and find my own way and just kind of wander along my own path. And I read books, but when I'm writing a book, I stop reading. When I create a card deck or creating this tarot, I researched the symbolism and the history of tarot, but I tried very hard not to look at other tarot, because I would like to tell my story, and as much as possible, I don't want to be telling someone else's story and influenced by it unknowingly. So finding your own path.
Yeah.
The magician I really connect with, but for me, the deer, in this case the stag of the star that I used, that is kind of the animal that I most connect with. So I've used that a lot in sharing the artwork.
Oh, yeah.
This is one example where I did have one comment of kind of what is expected in a tarot deck. And so obviously the stag is a male deer, whereas the star is typically portrayed as female.
Uh-huh.
And so when somebody commented on that, like, would you consider making the star a doe, right? A female deer? And I was like, one reason, not the main reason, but one reason of going into anthropomorphic animals and other animals is one of the reasons is to kind of remove the reliance or stigma of age, gender, or other things, and to focus on, I don't want to sound too ethereal, but like the nature, the soul of the animal, right?
Yeah, the core of the card. Yeah, no, I totally get what you mean.
Yeah, but it does make me question.
Yeah, that you'll get folk who struggle with things like that. You get folk who like the whatever card it is needs to be, it needs to have that color, or it needs to be that gender, or it needs to be that kind of an age, or you'll get folk who that will make or break a deck for them. But I think there comes a point where you need to be like, right, I know I can't please everyone. So I think all you can really do in those situations is stay true to yourself. So I think you've made absolutely the right choice in sticking to your original vision for the card. That's just me, but that's what I would say. There's a card that I saw see this strength card. That's absolutely stunning. That's the first I've seen that. I never actually saw that before, neither I did. But that strength card is beautiful.
I appreciate you saying that. I do really like the strength card, and that's Arthur's favorite card. That's my son's favorite card. I like that because... Sorry?
It's because it's got a dragon on it.
Yeah. I think I like that card because the original strength card has the inner strength of a female figure, right? So it's not about brute force. It's about kind of this kind of control of yourself and what's outside. So she is kind of taming a lion. She is taming what is a fierce predatory danger. Yeah. But I wanted my animal character to this, so I selecting a tiger. But it has both, right? It has this inner strength. So unlike a lion that roars, that has to say, "Look, I'm here," the tiger is kind of hidden in the shadows. Interestingly, like I just being a lover of animal life and nature and stuff. Probably a lot of but the tigers stand out very stark to us because of the orange-black coloring, but their typical prey don't see those colors. They have a different color spectrum, right? So to them, they are hidden in the grass. Those colors aren't discernible. So that's also very interesting for me, that I think that we need to put ourselves in a different perspective. We can't see the world through human eyes, right? We have to say, why are they like that? Well, they're like that because of their prey, because of the way they live, and in their world they are hidden, they're silent. So there's a lot of inner strength in a tiger, but there's also this outward strength. So I couldn't put them taming like a softer animal if they're the top of their food chain. But I did, sorry, I did struggle with this because there are no other fantastical animals in this deck. So I think like does it stand out too much? Is it
I mean,
does it
for
fit in too
me, it
much?
was in a really, really good way. But now, I didn't even occur to me that it was the only fantastical animal in the deck. But I mean, so what? It looks cool as oh, like it looks really cool. I don't know
But I
why I'm
really
talking myself, Jack. I've got a mouth like a sailor, right? I swear like a sailor, and I always swear on my channel. But I don't know. I'm like, oh, I need to be proper. I've got a distinguished guest on the channel. I need to
no,
stop.
no, 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 no. Please be natural. When I first before we started, when I heard you say like something will take a wee sec or something,
Yeah.
I was really I love hearing your accent and any accents from back home because I miss it, right? I've been in Japan for 20 years. So
Yeah.
speak as you do, please.
Well, you
No,
might
I
regret
also like
that,
the idea of the dragon, it standing out as the only fantastical element there, because there is no other animal in our world that such strength can tame. So the dragon is kind of emblematic of a force even beyond our world, like a force beyond our reality. So I feel like it works.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think you're going to get any complaints about that, to be honest with you. I
Okay.
say that, if people will find anything to complain about, but you know what I mean, for the most part. See, on the subject of animals, actually, Jack, like like how long have you been, so that I'm thinking about the anthropomorphic
Mhm.
art, if that's the right word, if I've
Yep.
said
Yep.
that correctly.
Yep.
But is that something that's always been a part of your art, that's always been quite close to you? Or what was it that made you, what attracts you to anthropomorphic art, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so everything in this world, I'm creating another project at the moment. On Patreon, I have a first mate tier where I create a project with a Patreon supporter, and so we're kind of discussing it back and forth.
Mhm.
And they're interested in using humans as subjects. But then the question is, have you ever used humans before? Like, and there have been cases. So I've published 3 books, and I have also a 3 novel series that's not yet published, where it's kind of like Alice in Wonderland, kind of like Narnia,
Yeah.
where it follows a human character falling into this whimsical, nonsensical world of anthropomorphic animals. And
Mhm.
there are so I do explore human characters and figures, but either in the written literature, in the artwork, I find animals very appealing to focus on, so I always have. So there aren't that many humans. So I wrote a book about, so it's a novella that went along with an art project last, where it follows the story of a wood mouse traveling to the city of the house mice that live underneath, where the cats roam and stuff, and kind of the journey of that. And so exploring different culture, from it's kind of like the Aesop story of the country mouse and the town mouse, right? So
Yeah.
it's a kind of exploring the different lifestyle and philosophy of such characters, but through animals. I think everyone can relate to animal life, to other animals, whereas with humans come with a lot of baggage, that as soon as you see a human form, as soon as you read about a human character in a book, you're making so many assumptions, you have so many biases that are kind of influencing how you interpret that character. Whereas when you start with a different kind of animal, it's kind of a clear palette. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There was another card that I saw that I loved. Sorry, I just want to quickly see that tower card. That tower
Yeah.
card is an absolute beaut. I love that
I'm
card.
really glad you say that. I love it when there are cards that I like that I create that don't necessarily resonate with some people, and there are cards that I create where I'm like on the fence about it, but
Yeah,
then someone tells me that's their favorite card. Oh, that, like, I love that feeling. This one,
yeah,
really was on the fence about it aesthetically. Like, I
right.
was like, do I like how that looks, like how it turned out? But I do like that I didn't make, so everyone obviously has a character, right? An animal character, and the tower, you would assume the protagonist, the main focus is the tower, but for me, the animal became the lightning,
Yeah, absolutely.
and I really like the kind of narrative that told.
Yeah. Do you know something, Jack? See, just you saying, I'm not sure how I feel about the aesthetic. So the tower card in the tarot, it's the shit hits the fan card,
Hmm.
to put it in a one-liner. But the idea is that the tower represents all of these things that we've accumulated, all of this
Hmm.
excess that we've built
Hmm.
up. And the tower represents like enough is enough. Do you know what I mean? It's like the lightning comes in and blasts that tower apart and takes you down to the bare foundations, the bare minimum, that you need to survive. Not all of the shiny stuff, not all of the kind of the excess people in your life who aren't, who aren't serving your best good or whatever. It takes everything down to the bare minimum. And I think, like I said, shiny things there, but like stuff that we accumulate. So to me, it makes sense that that's a card that makes us. It's supposed to make us feel
Okay,
uncomfortable.
yeah.
So see the fact that you are sitting like, I'm not sure how I feel about it
Hmm.
aesthetically. I think that makes it even better. I love it aesthetically. I find it really. I was drawn to it right away. But yeah, that kind of to me makes sense anyway.
Yeah, I like that. I like. Yeah. I like. I'm now more comfortable feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah, there's definitely some cards in the tarot that we're supposed to feel a bit
Mm.
icky about, and the tower's probably one of them. Um, but yeah, I scrolled up to get to that, but I'm just scrolling through some of the minors now here. I know Simon's a sucker for a good playing card deck, aren't you, Simon? So I know that he's particularly going to enjoy working with this deck. Um, I am too. I love my playing cards and my tarots, and I've actually kind of been toying with an idea in my own head about a way to like bring the two together. But this is just absolutely stunning. Um, I wanted to highlight Verdiad had said just on the subject of the dragon. He says, I think just by anthropomorphizing the animals and having them stood up and wearing outfits makes them closer to mythical animals. So a dragon doesn't feel inconsistent with that world.
Yeah, and I like that idea. And if you notice, then the dragon isn't anthropomorphized. The dragon isn't wearing clothes either. So then it kind of brings the dragon down to reality, like reality, like the non-human. So I maybe that balance
Mm.
kind of equals out.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Um, Tell me a wee bit about the work that you do, the charity work that you do, because I'm interested in that. I am an animal lover myself.
So yeah, I love that.
Um,
So right from the beginning, from the first projects, I always find it really hard to think, I'm creating products that, because that takes resources, that trees had to be cut down and factories had to run and stuff. And so even from the beginning, with every card pack made, we planted a tree, and there's a lot. What I use, I'm like this green wrap here. In Japan, we call it puchi puchi, but it's like it's a bubble wrapping, but it's made partly from sugarcane. So like I like try and put thought into everything that we create, and how does it leave the world, right? I would like my footprint to be a positive one. So everything that we do has a positive impact, bringing whimsy into people's lives, but also making the world a better place. And so I've been working very closely with a charity here in Japan called Animal Refuge Kansai, where we help rescue and rehome abandoned and displaced cats, dogs, mostly cats and dogs, but rabbits or whatever animals. In past projects, so I put a portion of funds, past campaign funding, because that's not allowed in Kickstarter. A portion of the profits goes to these charitable activities. So in some, and the higher funding we reach, the more I can do, right? So in my biggest funded project in the past, we were able to even build a whole new cattery, so a shelter for rescue cats. So I was able to do more because the campaign did better and the community came together more. And in the smaller ones, I like the ones that don't perform as well, right? But everything so far has been well received. But in those, we still do a lot of activities. So in this, we will be working with Animal Refuge Kansai as well. But along the way, we do a lot of other things. So already in this campaign, I have used my own funds, but that's theoretically from post-funding profit, to work with to support the World Wildlife Fund to symbolically adopt a rhino. So I think they're an endangered animal, and so they kind of do habitat conservation and try to reduce poaching. And in lieu of that, kind of in honor of that, I then created a new card which everyone in this will receive as a gift, like it's as part of the deck. So it's a brand new card called the Guardian, that is modeled after a rhinoceros. But I didn't want the rhinoceros to feel like it was just much like our conversation with the strength card. It wasn't a physical protector, though it could be, right? The rhino has a thick skin, right? So our rhino has a shield on its back because it could protect, but that's not what its nature is. It's there as a reactive force. So if there's a threat, then it's there to care. It's there to stand in the way. And so the card has the rhino kind of planting trees, and in the background you can see a hill, and there's a tree atop a hill, another hill, and a tree atop it, and there's a small sapling that it's now caring for. I think I hope people like that. It was inspired by the traditional virtues, virtue cards that aren't in every deck, but I couldn't create every traditional card in addition to, so I couldn't create like 100 card deck, and it felt better for me to kind of merge the virtues and take inspiration from what this campaign has achieved with all of the backers to create something new there. So yeah, I hope people like that and like the welfare that we kind of support.
I think so. I think it looks absolutely stunning. I've had this Jack of Swords on the screen because when you were talking about how you in the courts you've done the mirror effect, except you've done it so it's the shadow side. And I thought, is this a hair on this card?
Yeah. So all of the spades or the swords are inspired by rabbits' hairs. And so also it's not clear, and when you get the guidebook it will be slightly more clear, but I like to allow a lot of room for self-interpretation. But all of the minor arcana follow a narrative story. So from the 2 of Swords all the way up to the 10 of Swords, there's a character and it's kind of a symbolic story that it's following. And so these minor court cards, in my decade of lore, they are actually characters that have a lot of story behind them as well. But yeah, so this is a knightly rabbit hair.
Yeah, Yeah, I know that Simon, who's still with us in the chat, Simon loves hares. I think hares might be one of Simon's favourite animals. So I've got this card on the screen for you, Simon. I'd imagine he's like trying to jump through the screen and grab it. But yeah, it looks amazing, and I love the concept of having the kind of that shadow side and the kind of shadow side and light side. I'm going against what I was saying earlier, but you know what I mean. I'm interested in the creative process for you. So I've heard you talking a bit about like how you create the cards, but can you tell us a wee bit about that? Is that okay?
Yeah, you mean the artistic process or like conceptualizing them?
Yeah, like the artistic process. So like how does what is from like from having no card to having the card fully illustrated and coloured and stuff.
Yeah.
What does each step in that process look like?
Yeah, so I have like a sketchbook. So I mean, I already begin with a lot of research, kind of exploration. I don't have, this isn't like, I wasn't prepared for this, so I don't have my sketchbook for this project, but like I do like hand drawn sketches and notes on the kind of details that I want this to represent.
Yeah.
So I'm working on an interesting concept of like characters kind of riding a beast, and then the cars kind of connecting across as they ride it. Oh, this is like something that I haven't made yet, but I would like to explore Japanese kokeshi dolls, and so the idea that cards kind of align vertically to create the doll form, and then the box could be a kind of reveal. So there's kind of like a concept idea sketchbook, and then I move on over to the tablet with a graphic pen and begin with the form, the outlines, and then kind of I look a lot into the color palette. Is very important for what moods you want to capture, but also Japan is they really love their seasons. So and it's a great thing about Japan. One of the weirdest questions that I got a lot when I first came, and I still get it, but it's, it was weird when you first come, was how many seasons do you have in your country? What? How many days of the year are there? Well, like what? But in their belief, like Japan has 4 very distinct seasons. So like spring is cherry blossom season, and everyone goes to see the cherry blossoms, and now it's spring. Whereas in their minds, other countries don't have that, so they don't have 4 seasons. And but also the culture is built all around that. So for example, peaches are only available a quarter of the year. They're only available during their season, and that's something that's great, right? So maybe in the UK you can go to a supermarket and you can get kiwis any time of the year, but we know that these are being imported, or these are being grown in greenhouses and stuff. So it's nice to know that here it is more locally sourced, it is more naturally grown. And then what happens as a result of that is it's like Christmas. Like you're waiting for a year for something that you enjoy to come, right? To arrive. And then if you have something every season, then you're always, oh, now this has come. Oh, now this has arrived. Oh, great. It's now pumpkin season, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So like exploring palettes that kind of has that feeling of connecting to some form of seasonal nature or something is very important as well. And then fill in the art, like yeah.
Oh, looks really cool. I love your book, your sketchbook. Like it's very precise, like your redrawings and stuff. It's really, really cool.
Thank you.
What was I going to ask you? I was going to ask you something else. Was there anything that surprised you, like in the creative process for the Arcane Wildlife Tarot? Was there any surprises that you got, or anything that surprised you weren't expecting?
I mean, I guess like because it was all so fresh to me, that it was a whole learning process. Nothing surprised me in that I didn't have any expectations. But so everything was new. Trying to understand, what does this card mean? What does this represent? How can I depict it in my world? So nothing was a surprise in that. I guess. No, the only surprise would be if it had come easily, which it didn't. Like it was a process which I expected. But I think one surprise is more in the community, in how welcoming everyone has been, and perhaps that shouldn't have been a surprise. But just in my experience, as a creator, and I think I can speak for 90% of creators, we hate marketing. We hate talking about ourselves. I really don't like putting myself out there. I would rather be the hermit and just be drawing by myself and then release them to the world. I would rather 1 billion people see them, love them, want them, and I can give them for free. And then this life is just somehow sustainable. Right? But it doesn't work that way. You have to kind of market yourself, communicate with people, join, engage. And I've found that the community makes me feel a lot more comfortable than I expected to feel. So I guess that's a surprise.
Yeah, that's good. Simon's asking, and whilst I say that, I'm going to encourage everyone in the chat, if you've got any questions for Jack, then please pop them into the chat just now. But Simon has asked, is your playing card fan base behind your tarot project?
So we were saying this beforehand, Chris, but one of the things I hope to do is explore the history of playing cards and tarot. I think a line that I say is these are like cousins that don't no longer speak, and I wanted to create a language where they work together. In a way, I want to respect each medium, but in a way, what I've created, I hope, is a tarot deck that can be used for its traditional historical purpose of originally as a trick-taking card game. Like you could still use it easily to play, and then the playing card deck would be a great tool for reading, or not tarot reading, right? But for fortune telling in some form. They're both created for that dual purpose. And in the same way, I was hoping that the playing card community that I'm involved with, if I can say, my fan base, are excited by the tarot, where they usually wouldn't collect tarot. And I would hope that the tarot community, who I'm sure are aware that there are a lot of custom playing card decks out there, would be excited by the playing cards, as sounds like Chris maybe. And that was my hope. I found that, and again, if I can say this, my fans are enthusiastic about both, and so I think at the end of the day, even if you're not a reader, even if you're not going to use the tarot for tarot reading purposes, it's like it's a mini art print collection, right? Like there are many purposes. Like in one of my rooms, I'm allowed one room in the house to display my artwork, and like I've like framed playing cards, right, and kind of used the playing cards to decorate the walls. They're pieces of art. I hope people feel the same way. So I think.
Oh, absolutely. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that people in this community would quite happily frame a card deck and put it up on a wall. I'm pretty sure I've seen that Simon's done that at one point or another. But yeah, no, we definitely view. I mean, that's what we're doing, isn't it? Like you can probably see behind me, I collect quite a lot of tarot decks, and I mean, I don't read with all of them all of the time. Do you know what I mean? Like some of them are like collector's pieces. Some of them I collect them because they're beautiful pieces of art. So Yeah, 100%. In terms, is there going to be a guidebook with the deck,
Yeah,
Jack?
so there's a guidebook. It's so there's just a little snippet of it. There's a page or two on the campaign showing scenes of it. Again, it's like I try to, because I don't have the expertise, I don't have the authority to say, this is how this card should be interpreted. But also, that's not what I wanted to do with this deck. It's more, these are the feelings, and this is the moment, the scene of this card that you can then interpret, and how that relates to your question, to your life as you're exploring it. So there is I hope what people would consider a rich and whimsical, delightful, all hand drawn, written with lots of illustrations in it guidebook that I'm excited for people to explore. But it's not like a small font detailed kind of description of the card. It's more like so each minor pip tells a sentence of the story as you go, and it tells what I'm thinking while I create it and stuff. But yeah, I'm excited and nervous to hear people's thoughts on the guidebook.
I think that it sounds like you've hit the sweet spot. I think some people, when they're creating a deck and when they're creating a guidebook to go with it, they try and, well, I can only speak for myself, right? I like a guidebook to give me a wee bit of a flavour for what for the artist's vision. I want to know a wee bit about what they're thinking when they're creating that card. I don't really need you to tell me that the Three of Pentacles means working together in collaboration and stuff like that. What I'm interested in is for you to point to your Three of Pentacles and say, right, see that? This is why I was doing that. And it looks to me like that's exactly what you've done. I think if you were trying to create a beginner's guide to tarot, then that's probably not going to be what it is, but then that's a completely different undertaking. Do you know what I mean? A beginner really should be getting other resources if they're going to be kind of a learning tarot. So, and I think that's what I was saying. I think some creators try and almost, they feel like it's their duty to create this guide from scratch, when really I'm like, I don't know. I think that just tries to do too much. But it sounds like, from what I could see from scrolling through the campaign and from what you're describing, it sounds like, you've hit that sweet spot. So I'm really excited to see what you've done with it.
I'm glad to hear that. So basically it's just kind of describing why I did what I did, why I created this image and what this represents to me, right? And so I hope people feel the same way as you've said, and connect with it in that way. I don't pick out everything as well. So like I created this element in this card because it meant this to me, and because I think it will associate to this feeling with you. But then there are other elements like, why is this hand this color, or why is this tool used here, that I don't even mention. And I think I've said this before, perhaps on Simon's interview as well, that I love the idea that when I'm 80, somebody contacts me and says, oh, I was just going through your tarot deck and I noticed this piece, and does this represent, this virtue or this sensation or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, well done. You're the first person that's ever kind of messaged me about this. I love the idea of people discovering things, and especially the more they use it, right? They find something else.
Yeah.
I mean, just as an example, the playing cards, so not the tarot, but the playing cards, because the box is of a different design. It's a tuck box rather than a lid box. Most people will never look inside. They'll open the lip and they'll see the custom inner illustration and be like, oh, wow, there's an owl kind of bursting from inside the box. But they'll never then look inside and maybe get a light and to see the bottom. But at the bottom, there's a line of a haiku, an original line for a haiku. And then when you put the different decks together, so when you're basically collecting different haiku lines, you can then create your own haiku poem that tells the story of these animals.
Yeah. Am I remembering rightly, Jack? This might be playing card decks that you've done, but was there not one where, in fact, now I'm thinking, oh, should I be saying this or am I giving away secrets? But like a UV light or something, if I remember that correctly.
Yeah. So one of the projects, I don't have a, man, I should have a UV light with me to show you.
Oh, don't worry.
But this was a previous project, White in Heaven, which is, everything is kind of, animal themed and stuff. But this one, if you shine a UV light on it, it just explodes with images of space and exploration. And what I did, which I don't think many people really know, is I created all the artwork, but the UV illustrations, they're very, they evoke a childlike vision of space. That's because I gathered a community of about 10 children that I know, that are creative, and they drew, like I said, what do you think is in space? And they drew their vision of space, and then I took that and I adapted that and created the UV for it. So it is actually real children's dreams of exploring. Yeah.
That's really sweet. It sounds like what it must be like to be inside your brain, because like just the ideas that you've talked about during this live, I think would make my brain explode. Like having all of those ideas cooked up in there. It's just as well you've got your jotter that you draw things out on and stuff. But no, that's really
I appreciate
cool.
that.
And I appreciate, I want to be respectful of your time, but there was one last thing that I wanted to touch on, that I wanted to ask you about, and that's well, you've got a beautiful family. There was a picture of them that's on the campaign that I had on the screen for a bit earlier. Am I right in thinking you've created like a playing card deck with, is it Arthur? And
I would.
Is that right? Yeah.
Can you bear with me just for 30 seconds while I get one?
Absolutely, yeah. Take your time. I'm going to quickly say hi to some folk while you're doing that. So hi, Fifi. Lovely to see you. Hope you're doing okay. I'm sorry I've not been as present in the chat today, folks. Roman, I think I might have said hi to you earlier. Roman, Nikki, I saw Nikki as well. Sorry, I was just saying some hellos.
Sure. Hi, everyone. So this is, I started the Patreon platform about 3 years ago, and as a creator, that was really a lifesaver in that campaigns are always unpredictable, and also not only unpredictable in how they'll be received, the funding that they'll get, the cost that it'll take to produce them, everything like fluctuates, and suddenly there's an issue, or suddenly it costs more than you expect. But Patreon allows for, a sustainable monthly support from people that enjoy your work and your creative process. And I do posts every week on it saying what I'm working on and going really deep into a lot of them. But I also do Patreon exclusive projects to give back to those supporting me. So once a year you get a package which has a unique project that will be available nowhere else. And 2 years ago, a previous year, one project that I created was called My Brother's Keeper. So it's still in its cellophane, but this is My Brother's Keeper. So it's very limited edition, so only 333 were made, and it's only available for my patrons. But the concept of it, with very detailed laser cut tuck box so you can see through it. The concept was being hidden in a forest. And so actually, once you open this up, and you can see on the back of the cards, there are animals, and they're hidden between the cut foiling here and stuff. But so there was the animal themes, and there was kind of, location and narrative to it. But this was created with my son Arthur when my newborn Robin was born. And so it's called My Brother's Keeper. The concept is I am protecting them, but also Arthur is here to protect Robin. And so if you can see the foliage here, can you make out that hands?
Yep,
So
you can. What I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to put you on solo for a wee second, so as we can. But yeah, we can see the two hands. Yeah.
So the idea is that all of this kind of shrubbery, the forest, is wrapping around the cards and the tuck, but then it's not in a constraining way. It's in a embracing, protective way. And so I will protect you. I will be there to comfort you, sort of message. And so it's a very, very personal deck. And he drew all of the artwork on the card faces, and then I kind of redrew some elements which wouldn't which are a bit janky. But otherwise it's like a combination of both of us creating it.
That's really cute. You probably find as your boys get older, I've got this really, so I've got a big family. I'm the oldest of seven. Really, and my sisters are, well, they're 11, 13 and 15 years younger than me. But I've got this memory of being on holiday, and so the oldest sister, Julia, so she'll be, she's 11 years younger than me, so she'll be about 26, 25, 26 now. And Eva, the kind of a middle sister, is a couple of years younger than her. When they were like wee babies, when they were toddlers, it was when Eva was first learning to walk, actually. So Eva would have been about 2, which would have made Julia about 4 or 5. But Julia is this like timid wee girl. So she's kind of still like that. Like she's still got that bubbly personality. But when she was wee, she was dead, like scared of the world, dead timid. And when we were on holiday, we were on like a wee caravan holiday, and this other wee girl came up, and I think she like slapped Julia or something like that. And Julia, true to form, she just kind of burst out into tears. But wee Eva, like the wee 2-year-old, she like straightened herself up to her full height and charged at this wee girl. And the wee girl went flying back to her mum and dad. She ran, and everybody was laughing because it was really funny. But it was just like, the reason I'm saying it is your boys will probably surprise you. Like as Robin gets older, you'll probably find that he'll protect his big brother just as much as Arthur protects him.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's like the big dog is not as ferocious, right? It's the little yappy dogs that are. But yeah, like I definitely like hope that they remain as close, and that they'll be there for each other. But yeah, that project was. I think in part my inspiration for it was to and I'm sure it would have been instinctive. I mean, he already does, but it was kind of to teach him that it's his role to take care of his younger brother as well. And as you say, in reverse, when Robin is old enough to understand, it will be his role to take care of his older brother as well, right? Because we're there for each other. Yeah, that's a nice story of your sister.
Yeah, and probably still the same. You wouldn't mess with Eva, anything you would. But anyway, so tell us what's happening next. Have you got any plans for? You said you're already working on another project. Is that right?
Yeah. So all of these projects take so much time, so much focus, that like they're all in kind of different phases. So if I'm drawing this Arcane Wildlife Tarot for 5 hours and then my hand's getting a cramp, then I need to kind of shift gear. Then I'll be in a different phase of a different project where I'm in the conceptualizing a different project or in a and so I'm still like fulfilling my last project, pattern work, and so it's kind of balancing everything.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I've got some exciting things that I'm working on. I do, if anyone is interested, on Patreon, I have a couple of exclusive projects in the works, which I'm very keen to be sharing with people soon. My next main project is actually, I told you about the story of the wood mouse going to the city. The next project is like part 2 of that, which will be exploring a field mouse and how they interact with nature. And I think it's a very interesting exploration of Taoist philosophy. So like, how do you work with nature? How do you live within nature but work with it rather than against it, which is very un-Western, where we control everything, right? Like it is built for us.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really fun idea, and the concept I think is really interesting in that the cards kind of align to create almost like a biotapestry, where there's a long scene, and then as they align, they kind of, it's not a straight line, it kind of curves this way and that, and then another line curves this way and that, and they intersect. And when you lay it all out, it actually creates the grid for a traditional Japanese snakes and ladders game. So then you can actually put a piece at one end and then another end and roll die and like move your pieces along this scene that's been created, as though you're following the path that the field mouse has gone. So trying to conceptualize all of that and then make it into artwork is quite complex.
Yeah, I can imagine, but it sounds really, really cool. Now that would make a stunning piece of artwork on your wall. Like putting all that together and putting that up on the wall, like that would be amazing.
They would be great, but like, because it's not like a square display, it would then be a long line this way and a long line crossing through this way. It would be quite complex to try and frame that, or how do you?
That's what makes me so excited about it. I think that sounds really cool.
But also, if I can do one final shout out, or I mentioned this in Simon's very briefly, and to be honest, I'm not sure if I'm under an NDA, so non-disclosure agreement, but I believe I'm allowed to say that last year I created the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy official playing card deck and project, and right now I'm in the middle of working on the official Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy tarot cards, and so I think it should be very cool, and I think people will enjoy seeing that when it's ready.
Definitely, yeah. Do you know roughly when that's going to be around? When we'll be able to
I don't want to
that?
commit to anything.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You're a clever guy. What I've done in the chat, I've put a link to the Kickstarter. I've also put a link to your website that you sent me. If you were wondering why I was looking off to the side for a bit, it was because I was scrolling back through our chat, because remember you sent me your website where people can see your playing cards and stuff. So I believe that deck, the In Heaven one, is that still available to buy, and other decks as well, the one that we were talking about with the black light?
So some of them are available on my website shop, and some of them which are exclusives are not, or many are sold out, because basically everything that I make is limited print run, limited edition, and so they do, once they're gone, they're gone. Yeah.
So if you see something that you like, folks, then if you're not fast, you're last, basically. What is your I'm going to try and put a link to your Patreon in the chat if that's okay. But what is your Patreon handle?
So it's just my name. So if people are interested in Patreon at all, then you can just find Jack Brutus Penny.
Okay. Right, got you. There we are. So we've got Patreon, we've got your website, we've got the Kickstarter, and shove a wee link to your Instagram in there as well for good measure.
I appreciate that.
Cool. Okay. You get any final messages for us? Anything that you want to finish up on, or any messages for like prospective backers? Anyone that's thinking about backing the deck?
I mean, no, because final messages feel too salesy. It's more just if you've watched this and if you felt any kind of connection with the things that Chris and I are talking about, then it would, like, you may enjoy exploring the campaign. I hope you do.
That's very kind of you. I'll do the sales pitch. Everyone, go on to Kickstarter, back this deck, or I'm coming to shuffle reversals into all of your tarot decks, and you know how much that's going to annoy you. No, I'm joking. Check it out. I think it looks absolutely stunning. I can't wait. Like I said, I can't get to get my greasy wee mitts on the deck. So, yeah, I'm so excited. Thanks so much for coming on with me, Jack, and for chatting. And just seen Jeffrey popped in at the end there. Hi, Jeffrey. But yeah, thanks so much for coming on, for spending the time. I really appreciate it. I know that it's early for you, although it sounds like this is just your normal
routine
day by now. So, but no, I do really appreciate you taking the time out your day to come and chat to us. So thank you. It's been really, really good having you on.
Thank you very much for having me. The sun is coming up. I can hear kids moving around downstairs now. So, but thank you very much for having me, and thank you for everyone who's watched this live or who watches this after the fact.
Yeah, definitely. Right, everyone, thank you so much to those of you that have been here. And as Jack says, thanks to everyone who kind of watches it back. Yeah, take care, everyone. I'll probably see you all through the week on Thursday. Well, I will. Me and Simon are going live together. We're going to be doing a throwback to the Fyodor Pavlov Tarot. So I'll see you on Thursday for that. But until then, have a great week, folks. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.